AYLF has done an awesome job of creating this sense of family, this sense of teamwork, this togetherness.
So being part of AYLF, I was really looking forward to building my own character and leaderships. That's pretty much what happened. I learned a lot through the readings, through just communicating with fellows.
I wanted to come to get some leadership skills, build my network, and be able to handle projects to a higher skill for myself, for my own artistry. And I gained that and then some.
This is a program that's centered around helping you grow and become a leader and eventually get to a point where you're able to create change wherever you're at.
In 2021 here in the Delta, young people will have a limited amount of resources. The desire to improve is there, but they just don't know which way to go. And AYLF just giving them direction and power to see what they can do.
We actually had a podcast for our CIP project. We had 3 episodes in the podcast on mental health, financial stability, trade schools, and scholarships. We also had 2 guest speakers to come on and express their advice. It was kind of rough dealing with COVID, but I feel as though we pulled through and we actually did what we could and taught so many people.
Because of this whole experience, it gave me new resources and new knowledge that I can take on with me when making change.
The St. Louis cohort's CIP project is called Generational Tales, and it is meant to bring together the generational gaps of the elderly community and the younger individuals and bringing them together so we can all learn about the different aspects of life. And it's a safe space for both generations or all generations to come together and kind of learn about those different things that we may not understand as ourselves.
Over these last 9-10 months, AYLF has been a really positive force. It's been a really bright spot for me. It's something that I'm actually really glad that I gave a shot.
I believe that AYLF has the potential to impact communities for the good, enabling people to come together around common purpose in a way that could really make those kinds of transitions in areas better, healthier, and easier for everybody.
Our CIP is a career fair for high school students. We are trying to bridge the gap for resources. So we want to get resources out there for students who maybe don't really know where to look for scholarships. We virtually had to do this event where we chose different majors and then what those majors kind of entail to see what they're interested in.
Because it's very hard to figure out what you want to do with the rest of your life when you don't really have that much opportunity or network. So we really wanted to fill in that gap for students of Chicago.
AYLF it does so much for you. It's allowed me to build my skills in ways I never thought I could build them.
In order to change our community, we really had to change ourselves first. One important thing that I picked up from the AYLF was to not be afraid to take that step forward.
You read a number of excerpts from a book or an article or poetry. These things are interpreted as a group and you understand that multiple people have different understandings of it. You learn a piece of yourself from it too. There's growth every single session.
So the hybrid model allows you to fully participate without missing out on anything.
There was parts to it that went way well or probably even better online than in person.
I was able to be in a space with all of the rest of the fellows and get to know them as who they were. Virtual or in person was always a wonderful memory.
When you're in the right environment, when you're around the right people, it really does not matter if you're online or you're in person.
I'm super proud how they're growing and stretching and impacting the communities that they're a part of. I don't think I could be prouder.
You're getting cohort after cohort that's doing this work. As our cohorts finish up, they come back to become youth facilitators. So we're also training them up as well for those that's interested, and then we can begin to sort of step back and allow the youth to lead this work.
One of the main things AYLF has probably done for me over the past year is really supported my own personal transformation and my own journey in life. It's given me opportunities to reflect upon things in a way that I've never really done before. And I really am very grateful for the opportunities that I've had to do that so far.
This is one of those things that I feel you will gain a lot of benefit from.
Being in AYLF has made me aware of the different talents and the different skills that I have. But not just that, it's allowed me to really realize that I can be a leader in many different ways.
Welcome everyone to the Aspen Young Leaders Fellowship graduation. My name is Nicholas Preston, a senior sociology and biology major at the historical Tougaloo College. A year ago, I had the pleasure of graduating as a fellow from the Arkansas Mississippi Delta cohort. I am very appreciative of the skills and tools that AYLF gave me to become an effective leader and change agent in every aspect of life. This afternoon, I will be your MC as we celebrate the AYLF class of 2021. I'd like to begin by expressing my deep gratitude for the funding and support of the 20 plus donors and foundations that help make AYLF possible. Particularly thanks go to our program founder, Scott Bush, and major donors, the Oak Foundation, the Walton Family Foundation, and the Hargreaves family. Through this virtual event, all three of this year's cohorts from the Arkansas Mississippi Delta, St. Louis, Missouri, and Chicago, Illinois, get to celebrate together with family and friends, community members, and other program partners across the country. We can't tell the story of this year's fellows without acknowledging the many challenges that we've all navigated. Despite the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, continued injustice, and violence, and economic and political changes, these fellows pushed through and did not give up the opportunity to be the change they want to see in the world. Today, we are here to celebrate the journey this year's fellows have been on and all that they have accomplished. During this virtual graduation, we will hear from fellows in each cohort about their amazing community impact project. We will hear remarks from Sharonda Bossier, CEO of the nonprofit organization EdLock, and we will hear a speech from a representative of the inaugural AYLF Chicago cohort, Guadalupe Jimenez, who was chosen by her peers. We will also recognize the inaugural recipient of the AYLF Impact Award and individually recognize each graduating fellow. Each fellow is invited to celebrate on camera as their name is called. Finally, Ms. Cheryl Green, AYLF Associate Director for Learning Strategy, will deliver closing remarks. So let's begin with the fellows' community impact presentation. From mid-July through the end of September, our fellows worked on a 10-week community impact project. Each cohort worked together to find a way to have a positive impact within their community. This work was hard, but the fellows rose to the challenge. Representatives from each cohort will now tell you about their project and experiences firsthand. So first up is a presentation from representatives of the Arkansas Mississippi Delta cohort. It is my pleasure to introduce Jeremiah Warner and Frederick Walker, who represent the Delta cohort's Community Impact Project.
Thank you so much, Nicholas, for that great introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Jeremiah Warner, and I am a fellow of the Arkansas Mississippi Delta Cohort 3.
Hi, everyone. My name is Frederick Walker, and I am also a member of the Arkansas Mississippi Delta Cohort 3. And this is our Community Impact Project presentation. Next slide, please. So, our mission statement. What was our mission? Our mission was to provide quality information to young professionals in and around the Arkansas Mississippi Delta area, while equipping those professionals with awards to aid them in their future endeavors. Our sessions primarily focused on college and career readiness. Next slide.
All right, so what was our project? We hosted 3 30 to 45-minute sessions that focused on different topics that would be of interest to either college freshmen or juniors and seniors in high school. So we had 3 sessions. The first session was You Matter, Good Mental Health Strategies, essentially just focusing on mental health strategies to help students advance through college. 2, Get Into the Bag, Interview Techniques, Internships, and Entrepreneurship. So we were talking in this session, we talked about things that a graduating senior could pursue other than college. And three is up college exploration, scholarships, trade programs, and transferring. So essentially in this session, our fellows talked about applications to colleges, scholarships, FAFSA, etc. So each student who attended the session were put into a drawing where they could win an ACT prep book, ACT fee waivers, AirPods, iPads, and two $500 scholarships. And we wanted to have these prizes so that we can help these students have access to higher education. Next slide, please.
So who did our project serve? Well, our target audience were high school and college students in and around the Delta area. Though the information provided was mainly designed for Delta students, it was also made available to all those interested throughout our country. We recorded sessions and they were uploaded to social media platforms in order to remain accessible in the future to the students as well. And this also provided these participants with the opportunity to refer back to the information we provided. Next slide.
How was the service provided? The service was provided through Zoom for students who live in and outside of the Delta, but we did advertise via social media. Once these sessions were done and they were recorded, we did upload the session recordings to Facebook, and in the next coming days, we'll upload the voice recordings to Spotify, YouTube, and a few snippets of the sessions to Instagram. Next slide, please.
So our accomplishments. Our accomplishments include presenting our audience with the exposure that they needed to obtain new information to promote college and career readiness. We also established a social media presence with an outreach of 3,000 plus individuals. Our audience primarily interacted with us through posting information on Instagram and Facebook. And we also provided incentives to promote college and career readiness to those young professionals who attended the sessions. Next slide.
All right, so what is next for the Arkansas Mississippi Delta Cohort 3 is we will be raffling off our incentives and mailing those incentives to the participants who joined each session. After that, we will be uploading our video content and our just the video content to social media and to Spotify. Our hope is that we can refer back to this. Our hope is that students can refer back to this information as they navigate through college. And after that, hopefully, our recordings aim to inspire mental health wellness and career growth of young professionals. Thank you so much for listening to us today.
Thank you all.
What an amazing CIP project. Let's give a round of applause for the Delta Fellows. It is now time to hear from our St. Louis Fellows. I'm happy to introduce Leatrice McNeil and Carlos Mendoza, who present the St. Louis Cohort's Community Impact Project.
Hello, everyone. So today, my cohort, Carlos, and I will be presenting our community improvement project titled Generational Tales. And I'm Leatrice, by the way. Next slide, please.
Hi, I'm Carlos Mendoza. I'm also representing AYLF cohort number 3. First, we want to start off by presenting this quote by Bettina Love, in which she says, "Trauma is passed down, so must wisdom be passed down from one generation to the next." By encapsulating this quote by Love, we wanted to put at the forefront the sharing of stories, experiences, and the connections formed out of simple conversation between people. Now, the impact of conversation between different age groups and generations led us to envision our own project, and thus, Generational Tales came about. Next slide, please.
So we are a group of diverse young leaders who wanted to create an empathetic space for the older generation and the younger generation to share their stories and to learn from one another. We realized that there is kind of a division between the older generation and the younger generation in terms of values, And so with that, we decided to streamline this project focus around these issues and to create conversation. Next slide, please.
Now, based off what Leandra was just talking about, this division, who are we going to target this project for? Well, we wanted to target conversation between young and older members of St. Louis. Now, young members in the form of young adults in high school that are coming into the adult working world, and older senior adults who are coming out of their working world or have been in it for a long time. Now, these two age groups create a stark generational gap, with each side fostering a different set of beliefs. Now, this range of beliefs holds opportunity for meaningful connections for the topics we wish to cover. Next slide, please.
So to bring generational tales to our community, we decided to spread the word utilizing social media platforms such as Facebook and Instagram. We also utilized email, and we created our own website through WordPress. With us wanting people to sign up and facilitate engagement, we also utilized $25 gift card incentives, so that way we can bring more people to our event. For the space that we decided to create, we wanted to do it in person, but of course, with reinstated COVID regulations, we had to do it online, but we utilized Facebook Live to do that. And to stay connected, we created a mentorship program for the older generation to kind of reach out to the younger generation and to provide a professional relationship, especially if they were, two people that really connected well during the event and they wanted to pursue a professional relationship further. Next slide, please.
So what did we actually do? Well, first we set up a Facebook group drawing in over 30 members of our community. Now, prior to this event, we asked them profound questions like, where are you from in St. Louis? Which meant to lead up to the profound conversations we spent during the session. Now, we also used a $25 Amazon gift card as an incentive to promote wellness. Now, these people could use it however they wanted to, but we wanted to emphasize the importance of self-care. In terms of the actual event, we gathered a limited number of participants that helped us measure the reception of the space we wanted to create. We asked a mix of both younger and older members of our community, posing questions to expand their individual story and what they wanted the other generation to know more of. Now, the response were vulnerability and personal. Members shared their identities, where they're from, prior struggles in life, and most importantly, all shared a wantingness to connect with one another to make the community better. Next slide, please.
So these are just screenshots from our event. They're candid. So on we have just a screenshot of our Facebook group we created, and then in the middle and towards the right, we utilize the chat function, and we also utilize video functions. And we kind of utilized a couple of the questions from the empathy map that we were introduced a few months ago. So that way we can kind of probing questions to facilitate engagement. Next slide, please.
Yeah, so what's next for us? Well, our limited number of attendees gave us a strong gateway to focus on what we think are 4 important aspects for expanding Gen Tales. Now, the first aspect is mentorship. We want to expand the scope that people can connect, not only in a virtual sense, but having people sign up as mentors in a physical sense, encouraging people to connect outside of our event in the form of networking, coffee chats, to eating and hanging out outside of our event. Now, the second aspect is marketing and advertising. We want to communicate with local high schools, universities, senior centers, and senior residential areas to increase our pool of attendees instead of just reaching out to people that we know. Now, the third aspect is including a hybrid format. We want to hone in on controversial topics that offer a segue into people's experiences. This could include topics like gender roles, crime, technology, racism, coming of age, etc. We eventually want to transition to in-person events, which will span roughly 3 hours and will be in the form of a retreat-style open discussion. This means that there will be speakers, small group and big group discussions, and networking opportunities throughout the session. But we don't want to limit our impact there, which is why we want to include a virtual component. We want to highlight people's stories on our social media page, creating outlets to share people's stories and create discussion. Our goal with a virtual space is to create a sense of vulnerability that's shown by the content we put out and not told via our mission. Lastly, our fourth aspect is partnership. We want to team up with local nonprofit organizations and local artists that focus on artistically capturing people's stories. This means we want to include depth and artistic liberty in expanding our social media content to put at the forefront the people of St. Louis. Eventually, we want to expand our outreach by inspiring others to create their own chapters or cohorts in their respective hometown. Maybe even teaming up with other fellows or friends in different universities to achieve this outcome. With all this, we believe we can successfully grow and expand generational tales. Next slide.
So to end off our presentation, we just wanted to give a really gigantic thanks to our delivery team and our youth facilitators. And we also wanted to give a big thanks to our friends and family. And we wanted to extend our gratitude to the Delta and Chicago cohorts who are also presenting their presentations today. We couldn't have done this without all of you guys. So thank you.
Thank you, St. Louis Fellows, for that amazing and essential project. Our final CIP presentation is from our Chicago Fellows. Please welcome Cindy Orozco and Amar Wahid, who present the Chicago Cohort's Community Impact Project.
Hello, my name is Cindy Orozco, and I will be presenting our CIP project with my partner, Amar Wahid. As you mentioned, we're both representatives for our Chicago, Illinois AYLF cohort. Next slide. So our mission statement is we wanted to provide insight and guidance on life choices and careers for youth in Chicago communities. Next slide. So for our CIP project, we started with our slogan, Everybody Eats, with the theme of igniting your passion. We're also going to be discussing our target audience, which is the project that we formed serving local youth, as well as our accomplishments, how did we help participants, and then what comes next after the CIP project, which is our future foresight. Next slide. So one of the quotes that really resonated with me is be the person you needed when you were younger. The goal of this organization was to create vivid engagement with fellows, to create social change in our community and create an opportunity through this fellowship program to help young people. A lot of us are first gen from marginalized communities, and we very much felt very strong about helping the generation after us, as well as making sure that we were modeling not only to be a good person, but also to never stop believing in ourselves. Next slide, please. So Everybody Eats, that was our theme. Next slide. So EATS, the E stands for encourages, A stands for action, T stands for chores, and S stands for success. This means that we wanted to show acknowledgement for others, as well as have you been taken care of. Whenever we think about Everybody Eats, it's making sure that somebody has a seat at the dinner table and making sure that we're asking them how they feel. If you look at the graphic, it basically shows that there is an intersection in the center, highlighting the importance of collaboration. For there to be success, one must work together. This also includes there being a vision, a partnership, and there must be execution to make sure that everybody is reaching achievement, with the main importance of collaboration and communication to come together to make sure that we're uplifting one another. This included the target of services to be delivered by us as fellows, and we wanted to make sure that we were modeling resourcefulness to community members, and we also wanted to make sure that the Aspen Institute did fulfill their mission and making sure that they were reaching constituents that they may have not reached if it weren't for us. Next slide. So we had a fellow leave. We also had incentives for people to come. We started with presentations from general to more detailed info. We also had activities, and we also made sure that there were prizes for fellows to give out to the community. Next slide.
So who was reached? Who did we target? We wanted to make sure that we reached the widest spectrum of youth. So that meant that we opened the gates for everyone from ages 18 to 28, and all genders were included, and even people that were in different positions in life. It didn't matter that if they wanted to pursue education or not. Some people just choose work life after high school, and that's perfectly fine. So we wanted to make sure that everyone could come, and we knew that the information being provided could benefit everyone in all walks of life. All seminars were led by fellows in their respective breakout rooms, and two unrelated seminars that were voted on while RSVPing were running simultaneously. So we weren't like dividing interest of people that would like the two majors the most. And so they could choose when the majors were running, and their other second pick would run at a later time. Next slide. So in general, every fellow had a major that they were studying, and the fellows that had the same major or same career path presented together. So government had their presentation and their simulation. Urban planning and architecture had their questions and scenarios and their quizzes afterwards to see like little details that they picked up on. Kinesiology and biology presented together. Engineering had a had like a kit that you could like mess around with, and they introduced that and where to buy it from, and how it like really shows different ways to play around with it to understand different concepts. Psychology highlighted like all sorts of effects of like of psychology on the human body and out of the human body. We had IT, and along with other things that the fellows were communicating about. Next slide. So we achieved many things, and so we wanted to provide something tangible and helpful for the attendees as a helpful push in the right direction. We made sure that all the answers to all their questions made sense to the attendees, and that they walked away with a clear understanding with specifically what they wanted to know, and not just saying yes to us and pretending that they understood. We wanted to make sure that they actually did know what the next step would be. We even provided some contacts and institutions that we were connected to, so that when they do reach out, they can use our name, and that could like help a lending hand to others that are going to follow in our path. Next slide. So future foresight, what we will be hoping for in the future. Next slide. We want to continue as an open resource to all attendees and to anyone that wants to contact us, right? So in every way possible. So whether they go ahead and reach out to the institutions or the contacts that we listed out, and they want to come back to us and connect us all into the same circle, or they want to have the notes that we presented during the presentations, or videos or calls or text with us, we want to make sure that we're an open resource and anything that they want. Even after this cohort, it doesn't have to be just in the duration of our event or the duration of this cohort. It's long after, because that's what Aspen believes in, connection even after the initial start. Next slide. So we had an impact, as anyone, because it was an online event, we had to make sure that anyone and everyone could come. So it could be from people in the Chicagoland area, or it could even be people out in the suburbs of Chicago. And we wanted to help everyone. And slowly by slowly, we will see, as a metaphor, we will see the leaves of these trees that we planted change into vibrant colors as the chain of fellows continues, as they're climbing the ladder behind us. So we will get to see, the seed that we plant grow and evolve. Next slide. And just like all the other cohorts have mentioned before, and all the other presentation speakers, we would also like to extend our thank you to all of the delivery team and our entire leaders, the youth leaders that led us through this entire cohort. We would also like to thank the other cohorts for joining us and hearing us in our presentation. And thank you to everybody here for creating a loving and welcoming environment. Thank you so much from the Chicago cohort.
Wow. I'm very appalled and proud of these CIP projects. It says, quite frankly. Thank you, Delta, St. Louis, and Chicago Fellows, and congratulations on everything you've achieved. Next, I am honored to introduce this year's keynote speaker. Sharonda Bossier is CEO of the nonprofit organization Education Leaders of Color, often known as EDLOC. and a committed advocate for children of color who have been denied adequate educational opportunity. She previously served as EdLock's deputy director. EdLock supports talented leaders of color in education and related fields to thrive as disruptive and innovative agents of change. Under Sharonda's leadership, the organization is expanding its scope and focus by strengthening its growing multiracial coalition and designing holistic solutions to disrupt cycles of generational poverty in the communities EdLock serves. Sharonda started her career in education as a public school teacher. She also brings years of legislative and electoral campaign experience to her work in both volunteer and leadership capacities. Among the variety of her experiences, she launched a multi-state education engagement and advocacy organization to help communities develop the skills and capacity to more effectively engage with policymakers and other community decision makers. And now, Ms. Sharonda Bossier.
Thank you, Nicholas. I want to say thank you to the Aspen Institute for having me and for inviting me to share space with the Aspen Young Leaders Fellowship community. My name is Sharonda Bossier, and I am the founding deputy director and current CEO of Education Leaders of Color, EdLock. I am an organizer, activist, runner, and educator, and I'm so very excited to be with you today. I will tell you honestly, I struggled with what to say in the midst of my own grief and in a moment that has taken so much from all of us. I didn't know what I could say, what I could offer that would feel good, motivating, or inspirational. And so, as I often do in these moments, I turned to my community. I had a conversation with a good friend of mine and a fellow activist, Brittany Packnett Cunningham. And I said to Brittany, I said, girl, I feel like I'm talking to a group of people who are running into a burning building and I don't even have water to offer. All I have is a high five. And she said something to me that was very helpful. She said, you know, you should just validate that the building is burning and that they're damn heroes for choosing to run toward the danger. That's superhero work. And she's right. You all are superheroes, and you're choosing to run toward the danger. You're choosing to attempt the impossible. I am already so inspired by the steps each of you is taking to affect change and action in your communities. It really, truly is no small thing to choose community, to choose action, and I applaud you. You know, community is a word I think about often in my work, in my personal life, and in my advocacy. And I think it's a word that so many of us are thinking about even more in the midst of a pandemic, a climate crisis, racial uprisings, and just so much more that is happening in the world right now. As we all do, I belong to so many intersecting, and sometimes it can feel like competing communities, that sometimes it's overwhelming to think about where to start when there are so many people and so much need. I think about how my grandparents who left the South during the Great Migration taught me to define community, how they taught me to think of myself as connected with the folks back home in Louisiana, the folks on my block in Watts, where I grew up, and the folks who looked like me across the world. Everywhere, they taught me to see community, what I could give to the community, what it could give me, and what I owed the people who were part of my community. A few years ago, I moved back to my hometown, my first community, Los Angeles. I left home at 17 to go to college. And in the decade since I'd left, so many things had changed about the community that raised me, and so much had changed with and for me. I had to really pause and think about where I fit into it now. I spent a couple of years finding my footing as a returning community member in my old city, and then the pandemic hit. And the first thing I did, almost without thinking, was fall back onto the skills and values that this community has already given me. You see, I first became an organizer as a high schooler in this very community because I had educators who saw potential in me, who helped me channel my anger into purpose. And so when it was time to give food to people who were losing their jobs because of COVID, I contacted organizers and mutual aid organizations in this city that were feeding people directly. When the killings of Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and Ahmaud Arbery sparked a fire of racial uprisings last year, I got out into the streets and I protested. I showed up for the people who were part of my broader community by standing in solidarity with their families in their calls for justice. I now have so much more privilege and money than I did when I was a teenager in Watts. I leveraged those resources to support the people who are on the ground and in the streets every day. At every step, I am reminded that not only do I have a set of skills that can support my community in the most difficult of times, but that I have a part to play no matter how close or far away I am from where I started. Each of you were leaders well before you joined the Aspen Young Leaders Fellowship. Each of you has a role in your many communities that makes it important for you to join this fellowship, to build your skills and to bring resources back to the communities you love, the communities that raised you. The circumstances can feel so overwhelming, so defeating. Like I said, it can really be hard to know where to start. But the skills you've honed over the past several months of this fellowship are yours for the rest of your life. You can call on them. You can leverage them. You can build and rebuild any community you make yourself a part of. Yes, you are powerful alone, but you are infinitely more powerful when you leverage the fullness of your identity, experiences, and resources in deep community with others. And so I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for choosing yourselves and your communities. Thank you for every time you pushed past a no in defense of your dream and your community. Thank you for believing and fighting for justice. Thank you for stepping up to provide meaningful, life-changing opportunities for young people like you, like me, like us. Yes, you are attempting to do the impossible. You are literally fighting to bend the moral arc of the universe more quickly towards justice. Yes, you are running towards the danger, but you are not alone. Whether you are in the Delta, Chicago, or St. Louis, you are part of a community that sees you, values you, supports you, and needs you. If the past 2 years have taught me anything, it's that the impossible is possible with community. I hope you leave here today feeling the love and support of this community. I hope you leave here today feeling every bit of the superhero you are. I hope you leave here today knowing that as you attempt the impossible, this community has your back. Thank you.
What an inspiring speech. We will now hear from this year's graduation speaker, Guadalupe Jimenez, who was chosen by her peers from AYLF's newest cohort in Chicago to represent the AYLF class of 2021 with her remarks. Guadalupe is pursuing a bachelor's degree in kinesiology at the University of Illinois at Chicago. She has been heavily involved in her community to bring awareness on health-related issues. She plans to help others enhance their overall health and fitness, especially those struggling with chronic pain or illness. And now, introducing Guadalupe Jimenez.
Good afternoon, family, friends, community partners, AYLF supporters, and fellows. It's truly an honor to be here today representing the 2020-2021 class of the Aspen Young Leaders Fellowship from the Arkansas, Mississippi Delta, St. Louis, and my own cohort. The first AYLF cohort in Chicago. Congratulations. We're crossing what seems to be the finish line, but is it really the end? Our program began about a year ago. We all came into what we thought would be just another Zoom meeting. Soon we came to realize that was not the case. The delivery team welcomed us with bright smiles and open arms. They took us through content that was engaging and fun. We learned so much about the power in each of us that first weekend. And by the second day, we had set up a group chat and we were connecting with one another. AYLF has been an eye-opening and transforming experience. The program created the space to explore topics that were sensitive, challenging, and overall very important. These conversations included storytelling, nodding, pauses, tears, and laughter. What else could we ask for? A space that provides knowledge, amazing guest speakers, engagement, and vulnerability is one rare to find. Yet, AYLF gave us even more. AYLF gave us support, patience, compassion, love, and relationship building. From our text-based dialogues to our soul-searching activities, not to mention the goodies that came straight to our door. It's safe to say that AYLF spoke our love language this past year. We will always remember the first time we saw each other in person. COVID-19 forced us to meet online for most of the fellowship. But with safety guidelines in place, we finally had the chance to come together in person in June and July. It was a welcoming space that celebrated both the diversity and individuality of our cohorts. Meeting in person deepened our friendships and we became closer. We will never forget the first time we met on our own without the delivery team to work on our community impact project. What a disaster! But what came after that was even more than words can describe. We addressed each other with respect and refocused our goal on the work we needed to do. We faced many challenges to bring our project to life. Rejections, no replies, and shifting to a virtual event. Throughout the process, we stepped into doubt, frustration, and fatigue. But the dream we had that started back in December 2020 kept us going. And here we are. Today, we may be crossing a finish line, but it is not the end. We learned so much as a cohort. When we hit dead ends, we carved new paths. When we were hopeless, we found the courage to uplift each other. When we disagreed, we worked through it and we didn't give up. We persevered, keeping alive the dream of our community impact project. We couldn't have done it without the delivery team and their modeling of true leadership. They taught us so much about grace, boundaries, communication, patience, and dignity. They stuck with us through our sprinting and crawling moments. I have one last big shout out. Shout out to all the delivery teams for all of their support and guidance. We may be crossing the finish line of the AYLF Fellowship, but it is not the end. We're going to continue to grow. For all the fellows here today, I hope your dreams flourish with power and authenticity. I hope you affect the change you want to see in your communities. It's exciting to know that this December, new cohorts of fellows will start their AYLF journey. My hope for this year's fellows and all the fellows to come is that the fire in every single one of us continues to light the path to affect the changes we want to see in our communities and in our own lives. I am you, and we are each other. Once an AYLF fellow, always a fellow. This lap may be ending, but the race continues. Thank you and congratulations.
Great job, Guadalupe. This year, AYLF is awarding its inaugural Impact Award. This award is for an individual who has a close connection to the program and has had a lasting impact. In alignment with AYLF's mission and values, this award recognizes that change is rarely the function of a single individual effort, and that true impact comes from working towards a collective good. This year's recipient of the AYLF Impact Award is deeply committed to social justice, to serve communities most marginalized from opportunity, and to improving the lives of young people and their families. As the first director of the AYLF, this year's recipient launched the program in Newark, New Jersey, St. Louis, Missouri, and in the Arkansas, Mississippi Delta. She created the roadmap for what AYLF is today, leaving a legacy that has continued to benefit hundreds of young people, their families, and community members. To introduce our Impact Award recipient, we will hear from someone who has a strong connection to our awardee. Vaughn Jackson is an alumnus from AYLF's first Delta cohort and served as a youth facilitator for my cohort. Here's Vaughn.
How you all doing? My name is Vaughn Jackson. I'm an alumni of the Delta Cohort 1, and today I want to present the Impact Award to Zakia Reed. Zakia Reed shows so much impact because not only did she follow her dreams, but she did a lot of sacrifice to get to the dream that she wanted. So she started off working for the IRS, but she found a passion in education. So she became a teacher, and then she became a principal, and then she started working for Aspen. What she brought to Aspen was not only her teaching skills, but also what she wanted to do in the first place of teaching kids emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually. And this showed up so much in Aspen because it brought a sense of community, and it made me feel like not only did these people care about my education, but they also cared about my mental health and where I was spiritually. And that showed so much impact because she could have kept her job at the IRS and she could have climbed up the ranks there, but she followed her passion in making sure that every child that looks like her had a level playing field to play on. And that just shows so much impact, and it inspires me to become the person that I am today. And it most definitely inspired the kid that I was when I first got into Aspen. So without further ado, I want to present this Impact Award to Zakia Reed. Congratulations.
Wow, wow, wow. I am honored to be here. Just listening to your CIP projects, you all are absolutely amazing. And what I love is that you are leading not only with your mind, but with your heart. And that's gonna make you even more powerful. So good afternoon, fellows, family and friends, and Aspen staff. I am honored and delighted to be here today. I am more than appreciative to receive AYLF's first ever Impact Award. I was so excited when Cheryl called me about this honor because launching the inaugural cohort in 2017 was a labor of love. I don't recall any blood, but there was definitely sweat and a lot of tears shed, asked John. I have to tell you, my work with the Aspen Young Leaders Fellowship has been one of the highlights of my career. As a teacher and a school leader, working with AYLF allowed me to be a part of a team of passionate educators charged with curating a high-impact, real-world learning experience for young leaders, which is hard to do sometimes within the confines of the school walls. The idea that I would be supporting young leaders in various locales across the country was daunting and invigorating. I traveled across the country in the name of AYLF, and there was so much energy and excitement around the possibility of community change with this project, as well as who you all would be in this world. And now there's a cadre of AYLF fellows in Chicago. I am so thrilled that the work continues to grow and have an impact. I stand before you today with John and Cheryl and so many other Aspen staff members, but there were so many committed supporters of your leadership that you may never know. Whether it was Karen Woods Dunn, who volunteered space at the Coahoma County Community College campus for our sessions. She took a cold call and email from me. She didn't know me from Adam, but she made space for us. Or city leaders in St. Louis who ensured that we met every incredible leader that they knew. Your communities believed in you from the start. I want to leave you with the top 4 keys that I rely on to push me forward every day. Number 1, dream the biggest dream that you can dream for yourself and don't stop dreaming. In my 46 years of life, I will tell you that my reality is a lot bigger than the dreams I had for myself as a young girl growing up in South Georgia. Number 2, accept support and say yes to the opportunities that align with your path, even when you're afraid you're not ready. You have everything that you need. 3, be humble and grateful for what you've accomplished. And number 4, I don't have to tell this group because I've heard it throughout your impact projects, take good care of yourself, your mind, your body, and your spirit. I know you've heard, to whom much is given, much is required. And you all have the talents and the insight that this world needs. Thank you for this recognition and the opportunity to be a part of your journeys. Now I will turn it over to Nicholas.
Thank you so much, Sakai, for everything you've done. We will now transition to the certificate ceremony, during which fellows' names across all 3 cohorts will be read in alphabetical order by Delta Cohort Local Action Coordinator Nicole Moore and St. Louis Cohort Facilitator Erica Tyson. Each fellow will be recognized individually. Their name and photo will appear on the screen, and their name will be read, and the fellow will be invited to turn on their camera, greet the audience, and hold up the AYLF certificate they received in their graduation gift box. Please join me in celebrating the fellows from the AYLF graduating class of 2021.
Emmanuel Adewale. Safa Assad. Shang Chen. Doris Clark. Tanaya Counselor. Simone Covington. Jonathan Dixon. Tahaiman Doha. Elizabeth Frazier. Stephanie Iera. Doriana Hall. Kissa Jaffrey. Guadalupe Jimenez. Violet Jaira. Puneet Kaur. Taylor Matthews. Jania McClure. Leatrice McNeil. Carlos Mendoza. Jasmine Miller. Samaya Moore. Zachary Newson.
Evelyn Ochoa Arias. Sandy Orozco. Keyshawn Owens. Noel Peacock. Kayla Pendleton. Kyrie Player. Oscar Rivas. Bertha Sanchez. Robtrice Simmons. Mustafa St. Clair. Jordan Stern. Demetrix Strong. Victor Taiwo. Areli Tellez. Francis Tyler. Roberto Villaseñor. Amar Wahid. Talha Wahid. Frederick Walker. Jeremiah Warner. Shakyla Willis. Asaya Wright. Juan Zarco. Thank you and congratulations to all of the world-changing graduates of the 2021 AYLF Fellowship. Back to you.
It is now my pleasure to introduce Ms. Cheryl Green, who has been a longtime partner of AYLF and facilitator for several Delta cohorts. After an accomplished career as an educator, educational leader, consultant, and strategist, Ms. Green has now joined the Aspen Institute as the Associate Director for Learning Strategy at AYLF. Ms. Green will share some important information for fellows as they transition to being AYLF alumni. She'll also provide closing remarks and will lead the graduating fellows through a special AYLF tradition. Welcome, Ms. Green. Ms. Green.
Thank you, Nicholas, for that great introduction. And thank you for agreeing to spend a moment with us as we usher through this very important process in this very important moment. As we continue the celebration, as we continue to honor and uphold and uplift the times that you have spent with us, we want to make sure that you understand that we are not about to drop you off or leave you. And so we want to take a couple of minutes to give you a brief overview that explains what and how we will continue walking alongside you. This brief video will let you know what's next and share details about our upcoming event that will include you and your families. Congratulations to each and every one of you for completing your cohort year as an AYLF Fellow. As you transition into becoming an AYLF alum, we wanted to take a moment to share with you how we'll still continue to partner with you and provide support for the next 3 to 4 years. In a few short moments, you will become a member of the vast AYLF alumni community. And this community has access to a menu of services and supports that allow us to stay connected with you on your journey. These supports include helping you out when you may be struggling with some of your classes. We give you access to academic tutoring for a variety of subjects, as well as being able to help you out with your test prep for assessments such as the MCAT and GRE. And then finally, we provide career and life coaching for some questions you may have about next steps. We understand, especially during these times, that life happens to us all. And we know that challenges can create unknown barriers for you and your family. AYLF has an opportunity ecosystem that includes safety net funds for financial emergencies. We also want you to continue to invest and serve your communities. And so if you have a community project that you want to start or maintain, we have resources for you as an individual or as a small group to be able to move these community projects forward. We also provide financial literacy if you have questions about the most effective ways to budget and make use of your finances. And at the end of October, you'll receive the first monthly AYLF Alumni Monthly Newsletter with a lot of information about a variety of topics. Finally, in November, we want to make sure you stay connected to your cohort members as well as begin to meet and engage with members from other cohorts that have come before you. We'll do this with a series of alumni circles and small groups that you'll be able to sign up for soon. Your cohort year introduced you to a lot. You've expanded your knowledge, you've had a lot of experiences, you've gained some wisdom. We want to be able to leverage that on behalf of the fellows and cohorts that come behind you. The Youth Facilitator role is a paid opportunity for AYLF alumni to share what they've learned and dig deeper into the AYLF experience. As a youth facilitator, you will be a fully functioning member of the delivery team by facilitating and moderating content, helping with the Community Impact Project, and developing deeper relationships with fellows. During this 2-year commitment, you will participate in training and development designed to prepare you for this role. The application period is opening soon, and applications and timeline will be announced in the monthly newsletter coming out on October 29th. We believe that AYLF is a rich experience that can be enjoyed by many people, and we really want to engage your families and friends in this process. On November 2nd, we will hold our first multi-generational seminar. This seminar will focus on how you, your family, and other people can help understand how to hurdle certain aspects of the college experience. We'll help you figure out how to deal with anxiety and stress, be able to help your families and parents know how to stay connected with you as you stay connected with yourself, and then really walk through how families can understand and support you during your undergraduate and graduate years in school. Stacia Hamilton and Dr. Erman Hervey Jr. will join us for this important conversation. Registration is open for this free event. The link is in the chat and will also be included in the newsletter on October 29th. We hope to see all of you there. You are seconds away from joining Nicholas and other past cohorts as a member of the AYLF alumni community. So to underscore what I said earlier, this moment, this minute, it's not a drop-off. AYLF does not leave you here. We want to make sure that we are connected with you. We want to make sure that we stay engaged and interact with you on a regular basis. But I want to make sure that I start this charge and this call by taking us back to your first days as a fellow. So I'm going to ask each of you to go back to December 2020 and see yourselves during that first AYLF session. All of you hopped on Zoom, began your experience with us and with each other. And during that first session, we asked you to share your life story with us. We believe stories are powerful and allows us to know more about you. It also provides you with a rich opportunity to look at your past and understand why you are the you that you are today. And so the Aspen Young Leaders Fellowship is now a part of your story. We are a chapter that hopefully has sparked critical questions that stay with you throughout your life. Who are you? Who are you to yourself, to your family, to your community? So you will now take your individual and collective stories, and you'll blend them with fellows who are still crafting, still writing their own stories. Your narratives will join Tykeena's journey, a Mississippi Delta native who is using her AYLF experience to teach and inspire middle school math students back home in Helena, Arkansas. You will blend with Dante's story, past fellow from Newark, who joined us as a youth facilitator this year in Chicago and is away this weekend celebrating his wedding. You'll also join Jasmine's story from St. Louis. She has learned to tap into her joy, her self-care, and wellness by combining her love for fashion and modeling with becoming a future healthcare professional. So as you continue to live your story, as you continue to write your stories, I hope that AYLF is a chapter that stands out for you, one that grounds you, supports you, reminds you, makes you question. And most of all, we hope to be a chapter that is a lasting expression of love, of community that is never, ever edited out during the retelling of your own life. So if I have a charge for you, that is it. This is it. A call to action that is simple yet challenging. So I'll refer back to a reading you did way back in December of 2020. And Cleo Wade wrote the following in her piece, Way to Change the World. And she says, we find ourselves saying to the world, what should I do? What should we do? And the better question might be, how am I showing up? How do we show up to change our own lives? How do we show up to change the lives of the people in our communities? And so the call is just that, show up. Show up as love to yourself, for your families, and your community. And live out the best way you can, the statement that Cleo gave at the end of her essay, and is a clarion call for all of us. Be good to as many people as possible. And so with that said, I thank you for staying with us during a pretty trying time. I thank you for all that you have given us, your thoughts, your ideals, your stories, your experiences. And I just look forward to what it is that we'll do together moving forward. So I want to take a quick second to pause and really thank and call out a bunch of people who have been so instrumental to making this happen. I invite you to do the same in the chat as I'm about to do, but I want to give a great, big, huge AYLF shout out to all the delivery teams, 18 people who, in spite of having full-time jobs and families and other commitments, stood by us, stood by you, did the work to make sure that every session was robust and good and rich and just full of love and care. And so to the youth facilitators, Kaya, Faith, to Celeste, to Dante, to Terrell, to all the youth facilitators I haven't called out, thank you. To the facilitators, to Kim, to Alidra, thank you. And finally to the LACs, to Adam, to Kylan, to Nicole, thank you so much for giving a piece of yourselves. And then I also want to thank people who you probably have not met, who have been in the background, the ones who have been sending you all the emails and the text and making calls and making sure that you knew exactly what was going on when. And so to Cameron, to Grace, and to Fabi, you have been a light, you have been hard workers, and we thank you for your efforts. And then finally to Kara, who has done so much work and put in so many hours to make this happen. We thank you for your time, we thank you for your effort, and we thank you for your care. So applause to all of you. So now is the moment that you move over. So all of you should have gotten this little box. I want you to pull that out now. Hopefully it is still unwrapped. Pull it out, please. Untie the ribbon, unwrap it, and on the inside, you will find a pen. Please take that pen now and go ahead and attach it to your clothing. This pen, this aspen leaf, is a symbol now that you belong to an international community of Aspen Institute Fellows. Wear it proudly. Never forget, as people have already said, have already stated, that once an AYLF Fellow, always an AYLF Fellow. So once you've attached your pen, turn your cameras on, switch it to gallery view so we can see all of you. So as we saw your beautiful faces, please be sure to smile as we get ready to capture our graduation picture. Great big old smiles now. And while they're smiling, again, applause to all of you for making it through. All right, I don't have a camera, so you guys will have to let me know when you've captured the picture.
3, 2, 1, smile.
All right, stay on camera. So finally, we have one last big surprise for you. Right now, as you know, we are in 3 locations: Arkansas, Mississippi Delta, we're in Chicago, we're in St. Louis, we've been in Newark, but we have decided and identified the next place we will go And so the next cohort coming up in 2022-23 will be Miami. So we want to welcome Miami in and keep your cameras on. We're also going to add the delivery team members, hopefully, and do what I think is probably the best part of any gathering, and that's the little party. DJ Cecil from Miami will join us, drop a couple of tunes. I'm gonna encourage you to stand up, get your dance on. I'm old, so I'm gonna say get your boogie on or do whatever it is you need to do to move so we can welcome Miami in for the next cohort.
What's up, AYLF? I'm DJ Cecil, live from Miami. Congratulations to all the graduates of AYLF 2021. Let's go.
Trips that you plan for the next whole week. Bands too long for me. It's so cheap and your flex OD. Your sex OD. You got it, girl. You got it. The way I speak is my melody. Don't you ever think it's another me, girl, on everything. It's a lot on me. I cannot be seen. I cannot be taking apologies. Yeah, they proud on me, cause that bag on me. Yeah, they after me. I got racks on me, got the stash on me. Think they gassing me, yeah. Hoodie on low, but I stay focused, yeah. It's hard to stay low and everybody know this, yeah. Look back at it. She ain't never do this before, but she good at it. Said she never made love, but she good at it. She make them good when I look at it. I get goosebumps when I look at it. Oh, girl, just wanna have fun with it. Oh, girl, just wanna have fun with me. These girls ain't really no good for me, yeah. Da 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 da. Yeah, got a new biz that I ain't promoting. Yeah, all of my friends love money, though. Let me tell you something normal.
So what you gonna do about her?
It has been my pleasure to be with you today as your MC. Congratulations, fellows. It is now time for you to go and take the world. And no better way to end the day but for you all to hear from those that have been close to you for the past year. I hope you enjoyed these messages from your AYLF delivery teams and AYLF staff. Once again, congratulations, fellows. Have a great day.
Couldn't love you more if we tried. Congratulations, fellows. Nothing but great things ahead for each and every one of you. What an honor to learn with you this year. And remember, we are all just a phone call away.
Hello, AYLF fellows. This is Cameron. I just want to stop by and say congratulations on your graduation. And also to say that this is not the end of the road. It's not the end of the journey. This is simply the beginning of a new chapter. And I cannot wait to see all that you accomplish on that journey in the future.
Hi, AYLF fellows. We are so inspired by all that you've achieved. Congratulations on the impact you've had on your communities. Remember that we are always here for you. Can't wait to see what you do next.
Congratulations on graduating! You all rock, you are wonderful, and you've taught me so much. Thank you. Congratulations.
Congrats, AYLF Class of 2021 Fellows. We are so excited for you and so proud of all the work that you've put in over the last year. We cannot wait to see what is ahead. Congrats again from all of us here at the Aspen Institute.
Congratulations, AYLF graduates. I'm so happy for and proud of each and every one of you, and I cannot wait to see what you have next in store.
Hi fellows, it's Bobby, and I wanted to say congratulations on graduating and thank you for choosing to be a part of AYLF. I wish you all the best of luck on all the exciting things that lay ahead.
Congratulations on graduating. We are so excited to be welcoming you to the Aspen Institute family. Congrats.
Congratulations on an amazing year. You've done it. Happy graduation.
Congratulations to our 2021 graduating fellows of Chicago, St. Louis, and the Arkansas, Mississippi Delta. During a world pandemic that we thought we were moving out of, you stayed the course, and I am so proud of you. You are what this world needs to be better, to push us to be more courageous and conscious, and to be more just. May you excel in everything that you put your minds to and do it all in the spirit of excellence. And know that your AYLF family will always be here to support you. Again, congratulations.
Congratulations. All your hard work has paid off. I hope that you guys feel accomplished. Y'all did it. Despite all the difficulties, y'all did it. Congratulations.
Congratulations, AYLF fellows and family members. We are so incredibly proud of you on this year of tremendous impact. And remember, we're just getting started. There is so much more work to be done, and we can't wait to be good company on this journey with you.